So let me just talk about, well, this will be my final, Oscar nominee review for this year, before, the upcoming Oscars, right, which will be in a week's time, right? So I will talk about, I should say, I will finally talk about The Eyes of Tammy Faye, right? This is it would basically like a biographical drama. It is from, Michael Showalter, and it's also based off of the documentary of the same name, which came out in 2000, right? Which I'll bring up in the review, right? So I was hearing a lot about this just mainly off of Jessica Chastain, right? Who is the star of the show. She plays Tammy Faye Baker, right?
Right.
And like I would just say right off the bat, like I didn't really know too much about her, right? But I kind of heard about the little controversy between her and her husband Jim, right? Basically them being tele evangelists basically, and they were just like they just had this mega church basically. It was just this huge corporation.
They were huge in the 80s.
Yes, they would do it. And yeah, I mean there was just like a lot of like shady business stuff going on behind the scenes. Like they were, talking about, building homes for the impoverished and all that kind of stuff, right? But they were,
Right.
taking money from underneath those little those, missions basically. And just putting it in their pocket basically. Yeah, those charities, sorry, just putting it in their pockets basically, right? And yeah, I mean it just causes downward spiral, between, well, not just the church itself, but yeah, the bakers themselves too, right? And that's basically what this show touches on, but it more focuses, sorry, of course, on Tammy, right, who is played by Jessica Chastain, right? So in a nutshell, that's what it's about. You just kind of see her, just as a kid, the way how she viewed religion, how she viewed Christianity, I should say. You see how it relates to, her upbringing, with her mom and dad, basically. And then, as a teenager, she meets Jim, who is played by none other than Andrew Garfield, right? Like, of all people.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, I'll bring up the joke about him being cast in this, right, in a bit, right? But they and he too is a well, just a small time preacher as well, right? So they both hit it off. Tammy's like, she's all about God and she loves the church and all that kind of stuff, right? They hit it off. They get married pretty early, like right underneath their parents' backs and whatnot. And they just decide, here's what, like, let me just take this preaching thing and let's see if we can make some money out of it, right? One thing leads to the next. They actually, start working for CBN, if you remember CBN, right?
Yeah.
Pat Robertson, yeah, he is there as well too in the
Yeah,
film.
yeah. Like still alive, huh?
Yeah, he still is. Like if you just pull up, I don't think it's on TBN itself, right? If you just see an episode of 700 Club, you'll always see him, right? He always have something to say, well, I don't know if he have anything to say now, see that, Trump is out, right? I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah, well, he's nice. He's always whatever. Any issue the jury, you'll always mount off on, and someone, find somebody on YouTube making fun of it.
Yeah, exactly, right. He also runs into, well, I actually didn't even know about this guy, Jerry Falwell, right, who is played by Kingpin himself, right, Vincent D'Onofrio, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Okay, so, all right, so I'll spill the joke one time. I just find it so funny, right? Two things. One, Andrew, who played Spider-Man, and Vincent, who plays Kingpin, right? Who in the comics and whatnot,
this fight
antagonist to Spider-Man.
Right. So Spidey versus Kingpin. Jesus.
Yeah, Spidey versus Kingpin.
and New Testament edition. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, he actually is sort of like he is an antagonist actually, but he's not primary. He just kind of shows up here or there, right? And his thing is just, actually took a note down of what does he say, right? But he just comes through with some of the most memorable lines in it. There's not really much here, but it just kind of shows just the mindset of some preachers back in like the 70s and whatnot, right? So he says, God's fighting the liberal, feminist, and homosexual agendas in America, and he does see that with a straight face where you just like, geez, you know what I mean? But Tammy,
the other son, right? So yeah, the other son, the evangelical movement, the 80s was such a weird like confluence of things, like mostly, and that's mostly because of the what do you call it, the AIDS crisis, right? That is the one thing that really like pushed them up. That and a mixture between that, the blowback against was our president named by
Reagan?
No, not Reagan.
No, Reagan.
Right before Reagan.
Nixon.
Not yeah. Well, yeah. It should we call him Ford. Like
Right,
that
Ford,
whole
right.
period of just all the civil rights era stuff was starting to play out. Then the 70s happened. Then you had oh gosh, what's his name, boy? What's his name? That president. He had a Iran scandal because he's a real liberal president. And a lot of conservatives consider him the worst president ever. But anyway, it'll come to me. It was him, like just Reagan coming in, morning in America again. The 80s started, and then between a mix between AIDS and then all of the world speeding up. Yeah, the evangelical movement just was amazing. Like there really had a time in the spotlight. And yeah, it was a easy bag. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. And the second funny thing about this to me is that Rubber last year, no, not last year, yeah, before Kyle and I, we talked about The Devil All the Time, right? Which
Right.
featured Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, right? Wink, wink, right? But Rubber, how that show also touched on Christianity, but it was from the
Right.
lens of, it's the 60s, and we going into the Vietnam War. So
Right.
all that sort of Bible thumping, that vibe about it now. You see how people, you see like how it kind of slowly changes, and then people become more cynical to
Right.
that religion, right? So,
Yeah, well, okay. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is the person I was
all right,
trying to
yes, Jimmy Carter, right?
Jimmy Carter.
Right. Yeah. So this show pretty much does that as well too. But I'll talk about how they do it as well, right? But yeah, essentially, I mean, well, they actually through Tammy, because Tammy is very, I would say, despite how ditzy she might act, right? And there's
Right.
also this running gag that she sounds a lot like Betty Boop, right? That really high pitched voice, right?
Yeah.
She like is open to just talking about like just things that matter to Will, right? So
Right.
later on in the film, when she becomes really popular, she actually, and I actually didn't even know that she was one of the first evangelists basically to talk to address issues in the LGBTQ community, right?
Right.
And it makes sense, because at the time now, with AIDS, just blowing up, right? So yeah, she was just like, well, God loves everyone, right? So why can't
Right.
just talk to someone who's suffering from AIDS? I mean,
Yeah, that
like,
was
need to care for them.
that was a big deal then. Like
It was.
who just doing that or even mentioning it, because they even Reagan and them didn't care until Rock Hudson died, right? Like it was shocking. Because like, oh, Rock Hudson, but my best friend, oh, he's gay. Oh shit. Oh no. And they realize, oh, certain people who didn't know had it gay, and it's a whole scene. And if you wanna continue liking Reagan, I mean, I don't know why you should, but like if you wanna continue just at least tolerating his existence, do not watch the documentary. Um, How to Survive a Plague, right? I mean, it's just jeez, right? Real pressure.
Yeah.
It's a real fascinating, conceit and set of events that played out historically, like that's still shaping and interfering with the world now, not to this day. But yeah, go ahead. No, sorry.
Yeah, it is this, right? Of course, Jim, he has issues with that, like why are you talking about this and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But all this is just like a subplot that kind of shows up, here, there, right? But really, it is about just how Tammy and Jim basically blew up. They started their own show called the PTL Club. I just find it so funny that they have a 1-800 number, 1-800-hour club. So they think, 700 Club have 1-800-700 Club or whatever it is. I'm assuming that's the number, right? But yeah, we just gonna have we own thing, right? Of course, that just blew up in the 70s, and also Tammy just capitalizing on the fame as well too. She's very much into singing as well too. I'll talk about singing in a bit, right? So yeah, she bought a few albums on her show as well. Well, sorry, on their show, she opens it with songs and whatnot. So yeah, career blowing up and all that stuff, right? But there's issues with their marriage. It's on the rocks, especially with her having a second child. She's addicted to to pills basically, just to kind of calm her down. There's also a thing that she was into, like really addicted to Diet Coke. So yeah, it's crazy, right? And you just basically see that downward spiral from the 80s onward, and I'll stop there, right? So of course, the reason why I had to see this is the reason why people talking about the show, and we'll be talking about it into the Oscars, right? And that would be Jessica Chastain. I'll let you know one time, guys, she killed it in this show, right? Killed it. She killed it. I would make the argument that she is like the sole reason why you should watch this. But she just went all in that performance. Oh, and also something I didn't even know about till like after the fact. I was hearing her, like, like normally when it comes to films that feature real life characters singing, you think, oh, it's just like a voiceover or whatever it is, right? No, actually, she sung the songs in this, like the songs that are in this movie as well. She performed it, and they actually have like a few on screen performances that she does. Yeah, Chastain do it. Like this is actually first time I ever heard her like sing her, and I mean she was great. You know what I mean? But it's in terms of the character that she's playing, that sort of because she came from this North Carolina kind of twang that she have in her voice, and slight Betty Boop kind of thing going on as well too, right? So yeah, she crushed it, boy. But really is just the acting, the performance throughout was great. And also, and I just love that the film actually starts on her eyes, right? The title of the show, right? Um, well, this show was actually, I should say, along with Best Actress, is also nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And if you know me historically, I never cared for that category. I just always felt like, okay, well, I mean, you just put makeup on a man face or a woman face, okay, who cares, right? But in this case, by like this movie had to win for this too. Had to win for that category as well, but yeah.
I know it are not shows they're battling for.
Oh, you mean for
yeah,
right, because I believe it's eight categories being they're not gonna actually air when they're not actually gonna show people come on stage and present them. It'll be like off air basically, so you'll hear after the fact now. But yeah, for me though in particular, I think the show will win best makeup and hairstyling. Like again, I don't really care for that though, but like I just found myself zeroing in so much on what they did there, and especially with Jessica though, because what they did very well is just show, yeah, just how they made Jessica look like this person. You know what I mean? Like it's almost to the point. Like I'm not even gonna call myself the biggest Jessica Chastain fan. So, like I could tell you every single film that she did, in her career, right? But she just immerses herself in that role so well that even when the makeup on, it's almost like she's a totally different person. And they do it like, as the years progress now and she gets older, you know what I mean? Like the makeup effects that they do there, yeah, just brilliant in my opinion. And yeah, like for me, as far like I mean, I was praising the performance right now, but I just let you all know one time I rooted for her to win Best Actress. Like I thought, like last time when I talked about being Ricardo's, that was with Nicole Kidman. Like I thought, yeah, I mean, Nicole could win, she could win. But after seeing this, I was like, yeah, this is why she win this is why she just keep winning award and award and award. Because performance-wise, she was great, right? But that's not to say that everybody else didn't come true, right? I mean, Andrew Garfield, he did this thing. He's quite believable as this sheepish kind of, this guy who just don't want to start any trouble. You know what I mean? He just smiles a lot. He's down for the Lord. He's a soldier for the Lord and all that kind of stuff, right? But even he himself, slips numerous times though, and and it makes sense given the character. Like when he slips up, he always regrets it. He always gets flustered and angered and all that kind of stuff. Now, like he really wants to be this righteous person, but I mean, all this money coming in, all this influence, all this stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, you kind of expect that he would slip up here, there, right? Even Kingpin himself, like for the few times that he was on screen, he was pretty good as well, though. But for me, though, I think those were like the three big main actors that I saw in this. Everybody else, like maybe I saw in a film somewhere or whatnot, but they were fine. But it's just really Jessica and Andrew. It's technically their show, but actually more Jessica, yeah, because she just steals every scene that she's in. You like her, you really do like her as well too. And now I'll get to the style of it, right? It is very tongue in cheek, Tread. It is really looking at televangelism in a very ironic way. But I would say, like, as far as like a biopic, like as far as just showing the downward spirals of characters, especially being influenced by money, this did a much better job at that than House of Gucci.
Yeah, well, of course, you expect that to be good.
Yeah, and also I would make. I see where you're going for with it, boy, but right? But what this show also does very well compared to House of Gucci, I would say, it does camp very well.
Right.
Okay, and that right. So to be fair, both these shows aren't campy, right? They're not, right? I would say they campish. But here's the problem though, because just to talk briefly about House of Gucci, right? Because they were leaning in so much on them god awful Italian accents, you kind of watch this thing and thinking, oh well, all right, since they're not taking it seriously just because of the way they talk, right? You might as well go for camp. You might as well have like these over the top scenes of, Lady Gaga's and what's his face, Adam Driver quarreling about, oh, you sleeping with this person, blah blah blah. They do that, right? They could have done that, but they didn't, right? Just make it really salacious now, but they didn't really do that. They took things seriously, but you couldn't really take the show seriously because of the accents, right? But here they just balance it out very well, where it's like, yes, what you're seeing here is serious, right? But because of how outlandish and audacious these two main characters are, you're just kind of watching and shaking your head and smiling at the same time, too. Because
Yeah.
yes, the downward spiral is hilarious to me though, like, but in a really dark way, right? Not saying that we should laugh at them for what it is they do, but it's like, look at what all they're doing, like all they're just taking the word of God, and all they just becoming billionaires because of it. Like you all didn't see this coming, but then when
Well,
you just see
that's
one thing after the next happen, it's just like, yeah,
exactly.
you're just smiling and laugh,
Yeah, but that's what made the whole thing so kind of like there's a really kind of strange insidiousness to the whole thing, right? Where how does these two clown shows, were successful as they are now. And that is, when you see people when you see those kind of situations, you're wondering how, the vortex, what they are the eye of the vortex of nonsense now. Like wherever it is they represent have to be really, really like dark and insidious if this nonsense going on. Like that's how I always interpret this kind of stuff. Like the person so openly ridiculous. That means wherever it is going on had to be like real disturbing now. I just well yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand what I mean. And because of how both Jessica and Andrew play their characters, right? Again, they're not campy, they're not over the top, they're not hamming it up or anything like that, right? But because they so like just believe in this thing so much, right? And yet it's just susceptible to all these, just all these bad calls. You know what I mean? You just can't help but laugh at them. You know what I mean? And especially just how not too over the top, but just because of how audacious they are, right? And I just love how the show just plays with that very well, right? So it could border on camp at some times too, but because the subject matter and all that is like, yeah, you kind of have to make it, large in life, so to speak, right? But not too large in life because you don't want to lose the point of the show, right? That being said, I hear some people, because just like one time, it's not a perfect film, right? It's a decent film, in my opinion, but not perfect, right? A lot of people saying that the original documentary is a lot better than this.
Right.
I imagine because it goes way more in depth. And I mean I haven't seen that, right? But I could tell that there are a few things that they gloss over. There are actually a few moments, they have to do the montage stuff, right? They have to show the success, they have to show the fall, right? They do that actually in separate, montages now. But I felt like even there was like little bits of information, and even like in between the film itself, right? Especially when it comes to Jim himself and the way how he looks at the LGBTQ community back then, right? That's all I'll say, right? You feel like there's certain things that they leave out, either because of time or because of the PG-13 rating, right? But I felt like, maybe you could have just given this a few more minutes to just flesh it out just a little bit more. Because I assume that they just wanted to be all nuanced, but nah, I think it's just almost like they just purposefully wanted to leave it out because they didn't want to, desecrate the names of, the real life people themselves, right? But still, because that's part of the story, leave it in, like show us, tell us, you know what I mean? And then also too, well, because again, I imagine the documentary went really, really deep in. This feels like, it's just kind of ticking off, ticking off boxes now. Like, all right, it's the biopic is the rise and fall story. So you have to do this, 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 right? And it does feel by the numbers, admittedly, right? So you know where the story is going to go, right? Even for me, who is, who knows little to nothing about the Bakers, I kind of knew where the story is going to go anyway. And it plays out like that, right? But really, the big sell of this, of course, is Chastain. She just commands the screen every time she's there. I mean, like, just inclusive. I guess that if you just don't care for the story, you don't care about what went on and all that, her performance really wouldn't really do anything for you, right? But I would make the argument that she just goes in so deep by, like, even if you don't care for the story, you will still be drawn to her. Just the way how she looks, the way how she moves, and all that kind of stuff. I imagine it's probably like what Lady Gaga, well, I should say, what really Scott was trying to do. Like, okay, I would say like this is what going back to
Right.
the House of Gucci in a sense. This is what like Lady Gaga's character should have been like,
Right.
where it's not about the accent. It's just about how deep she goes into the role now. And this Jessica just does it so effortlessly. Trent is just like, well, yeah, no wonder Gaga didn't get nominated, right? But it's a shame, but whatever, right? So not the best show out in the world, but I would still say it is definitely worth checking out, though, especially for Jessica's performance, man. And I do think that, again, I don't really care for makeup and hairstyling, but I think that this is a shoe-in to win at that in that category, man, for sure. And yeah, I am definitely rooting for Jessica to win Best Actress, because yeah, she just knocked out the park. You might despise the show if you see it for yourself, but trust me, you will remember that performance, and in a great way, and not in a bad way, right? A la House of Gucci, right? Jared Leto. Right.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
yeah. Right. So, rated wise, I'm gonna give this like a decent 3.5 out of 5, man. I think that it is worth checking out. I know a lot of people will go and see it just to see that performance, but I think that everything else around the performance works very well. Also, I forgot to mention too, they actually did do a great job in cinematography, production design. I would say also they do some smart color grading to make certain scenes look like they're from the 70s. There's some great integration of like TV archival footage in it as well too. They do a nice little recreation of an ABC News interview that they did with Peter Jennings. I thought that was done very, very, very well in my opinion. I mean, Jessica sings on this too. This is great, and this is funny too because Andrew was singing right off of on this show, Tick Tick Boom, right, and he got nominated for Best Actor as well. So imagine if both of them win. That would be interesting, right? Although I'm not rooted for Garfield to win, I do think that the Academy going to soften up and give it to Will, I
Yeah,
called it one time.
right.
I have a feeling they're gonna
Yeah,
give it to Will, even though Denzel, man. I mean,
you know.
Denzel, dog,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, I think this show is pretty good for what it is. I still haven't seen the documentary, so I guess the documentary is better. I don't know. I just have to see for myself. But this does a decent enough job in terms of telling this story, and it's a very cautionary, story if you ask me, Trent. So yeah, definitely check it out, man. Again, seen it right off the bat. Jessica for the win. She's going to win Best Actress for this, man. Definitely check the show out.
All right, nice, man.